It's your smell. What the bird is barbecuing.
G'day jabronis, it is the Verd, back with you again. Welcome here to our week 2 match of the major PL. Tampa Frogadiers up against the Orlando Mudkips and, Mudkips? Yeah, definitely. Mudkips and Deebz. Pretty chill guy. His channel obviously in the description, as well as all the other coaches, but we're currently 1-0, he is currently 0-1, so looking to continue our good form against him here. I brought a pretty interesting team, I suppose. One thing I keep forgetting to do that I'm probably going to have to do after this video is recorded and uploaded is I keep forgetting to actually go and get the stuff required to allow your Mega Bracelet to actually work. I don't have the Mega Bracelet, so I had this Charizard X and I couldn't even use it. I realized like mid-battle and I was like, god damn it, not again. Like, this has happened previously in other situations, so super frustrating there, but it is what it is. Regardless, I brought a lead Scolipede again. Less offensive this time. Actually did have speed boost this time, which was good. So it was Spikes, Protect, Baton Pass, and Endeavor. So no real way to actually kill my opponent's mons. It was more designed to get up a Spike, to break things like Aron Sturdy, to scout what kind of Zam set I was up against, to weaken some other mons on his team, and then I'd be able to obviously just Endeavor stuff down. Like if you try to go Celesteela to wall the Scolipede, then I could chip that down. Protect was just on there to kind of scout potential Scarf mons, or if he led Alakazam or Crobat, being able to deal with them was super important. So there was that, and then Baton Pass, because like it was really easy to send it in, get up a few speed boosts, and then pass out to a few members of my team just to clean through later in the game. But the Rotom set was pretty especially defensive. It was a specially defensive Rotom and a physically defensive Kofag. Rotom was more designed to come in against the Zam and the Celesteela. Just had it had Volt Switch, Hex, Will-O-Wisp, and Pain Split. Pretty standard set. And then the Kofag was Rest Talk with Hex and Willow. Mainly Hex and Willow because his normal type from memory was Stoutland, which couldn't really break my team anyway, especially if Kofag was able to burn it, unless he had Scrappy Facade, which I didn't think he would bring in this matchup if he was going to bring it at all. Because I had Drill, it also really shut down his Sand Core that he could have brought. The Charizard was actually just a bulky DD set, but I try my best not to bring it out in this game. The Drill was Scarfed once again for a second week in a row. Scarf Drill's just been really solid in this matchup. Once Celesteela goes down, Scarf Drill just kind of goes in, so the aim was just try and get rid of Celesteela and open the door for Drill to just come in. And lastly, we had a Hooper. It was actually a fun little set. It was Trick Room Hooper, because I had things like the Rotom and the Kofag that could take advantage of that. Plus it also counted late game setup sweepers, potentially, but basically it was Trick Room with Knockoff, Drain Punch, and I want to say Gunk Shot was the last move. I'm pretty sure they were the moves that I chose. Drain Punch obviously because of things like the Tyranitar, Knockoff because of Crobat, Alakazam, all that jazz, and then the Gunk Shot because I wanted to make sure that Altaria got off my field. I was holding a Roselli Berry, so even if it did go for the Hyper Voice, it wouldn't be able to knock me out. And also had enough Spadef to where non-Life Orb Alakazam's Signal Beam would not knock me out. So regardless, he brought a pretty cool team. I didn't really expect the Aron, especially since we have rules in the MPL to set everything to level 50, so he couldn't have it set to level 1 and be the Fear Aron, so I wasn't really too worried though about that. My main plan was just leading Scolipede and going from there, because Scully just sets up spikes and is quite difficult to deal with. But best of luck Deebz in this game. It was going to be an interesting one. He's a very unorthodox player, but I lead with Scully. I also forgot to nickname half my mons, which was just whatever. He leads Crobat, and like I said, in this situation I want to Protect because he may go for the Taunt, so I want to scout to see if maybe he's running Taunt on his Crobat this week. So let's go for that Protect real quick, as he's going to go for the Brave Bird, so he's just trying to bring me down to my potential Sash, or just try and knock me out, which is fair enough. I can respect that. Thankfully I have the speed boost this week, so I cannot speed this turn. I'm going to choose to go for the Spike, because I know that if he Brave Birds, he just puts me down to my my Sash, and I can just drop an Endeavor and weaken his Crobat, and obviously Crobat then would die to Brave Bird Recoil being put on 1 HP. So that was basically my strategy, as he brings me right down to my Sash, which is completely fine. I was running a fair bit of bulk, so I wasn't sure exactly how much offensive investment he had on the Crobat. But on this turn, I just choose to go for the, I believe I choose to go for the Endeavor, because I don't mind if Crobat gets weakened. If Crobat does get weakened, it opens doors for other monsters on my team, but it actually chooses to go straight out to his Celesteal, and I'm like, okay, I'll take it. The second week in a row where my opponent has gone hard on their Steel type into Scolipede. I guess he was fearing the potential Rock Slide on Scolipede there, which is fair enough, but now what I'm going to do is go for my Baton Pass. Now, at this point I actually wasn't sure if I was allowed to Baton Pass speed. I actually kind of forgotten, so what I choose to do here is go out to my Rotom. And because I wasn't sure about the rulings, I just decided to go into Rotom and then click Volt Switch, because I knew it would knock out Selly, and also just in case I wasn't allowed to Baton Pass speed, it kind of meant that I could have just hard swapped out to Rotom anyway, because he went for Leech Seed, and Celesteal is down, so that's awesome. That is, like I said, if I get Celesteal down, Execute's got a great chance. So I go into Drill right now, because I'm looking at his team saying like, okay, what do you have that comes in? He goes back into Crobat. I guess this was meant as an intimidation strategy, but I have no reason at full health not to click Iron Head, and he decides now to hard switch out to his Aron. Interesting he didn't go into this in the first place. I really am a bit unsure of why he made the series of plays that he does here, but I just choose the Iron Head, and that is clearly doing enough to knock out this Aron with another hit, so I just go straight for the Iron Head. It's always a bit tricky with the HP, especially when it slows down near when they're dying, but luckily it does knock out the Aron, so Drill getting its 4th kill for the season. He goes out into his Altaria now, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really too worried about Altaria, to be fair. I can just go straight for the Iron Head again. Even if he has Fire Blast, I have EV'd this Drill not to be able to die to a Fire Blast, so I felt pretty confident that anything he threw at me I could take on and it wouldn't be a big deal. So I just choose to go for the Iron Head, just drop that straight on him, as he is actually able to live, so he's running a fair bit of physical bulk. And he goes to the Flamethrower, but like I said, this Drill is designed to take that just fine. As you can see, quite easily able to take that. Would have taken a Fire Blast too. And then he decides to switch again, and I'm like, okay. He decides to go out to his T-Tar, and I'm like, alright, well, fair enough, I guess, sure. I mean, I was a bit confused by the fact that he went hard into his T-Tar in this situation. I just drop another Iron Head on him, as I take him down a huge way, and he reveals that he is a weakness policy. I thought for a second this was red card, but it's actually a weakness policy, so really interesting that he decided to sack his T-Tar at this point. If it was an agility, or sorry, rock polish T-Tar, and he had sacked off Altaria, then this could have been like really scary for me to deal with, but for some reason he didn't do that, so I was a little bit confused by his thought process there. But he goes back into Crobat. At this point I'm thinking he might be able to live the Iron Head, and I don't want to risk Drill dying here because it's just such a huge win con, so I choose to go out to my Kofag, because I know Kofag can not only take any hit that he throws at me, but I can put Crobat then in range of my Excadrill later on, and as I see from this damage onto my Kofagrigus, it is definitely a banded Crobat because I am max defense. So really good scouting, really good to know. It was actually Cobbleberry, which is why you won't see any recovery items here, but yeah, really good to know. Crobat's basically now in range of an Iron Head, as he actually chooses to switch out here. I choose to go for the Will-O-Wisp because I guess he went hard out here predicting maybe a Pain Split if he'd gone for the Brave Bird, but no, I just choose to Willow. If I'd gone for Hex, it would have been a dead Altaria, so that was kind of bad on my part. And this is a little bit like monotonous on this turn. Basically, I realized that my main aim against this Altaria in order to win was to keep it whittled to the point where I could just go into my Excadrill and kill it. So like, I was really tempted to go hard drill a lot of times here, but the thing is, it's not worth the risk if he just clicks Flamethrower. So that's why I stayed in and clicked Rest on this turn, because I expected the Flamethrower play, since you can't really allow Drill to come back in for free, and if you go for Roost there, you're basically allowing Drill back in for free. So I didn't really expect him to do that, but you know, each to their own. Deebz made a play and it worked out for him, so I choose here obviously to Sleep Talk, as he's going to go for another Roost and get his health back. And basically at this point, my plan is to either wear him out of Roosts so that my Drill can just come in again and knock it out, or I just pick a turn where I think he's going to go for Roost and I hard swap out to something to deal with it. So I'm able to Sleep Talk here, and I get a bit fortunate and I actually get the Hex off, and we're going to gauge like how much damage Hex can do here. So it does about a quarter, which is really good actually, with the burn doing over a quarter, and that's really solid because I know that this turn he's going to consider going for something. So he goes for Cotton Guard. So we've seen Cotton Guard, Roost, and Flamethrower. I'm assuming the last move is Hyper Voice on this set, so it's a pretty cool bring with Altaria this week. So I choose to go for another Sleep Talk here, and I'm going to go for another hex. So I get pretty fortunate with back-to-back hexes. I don't really think it mattered that much because I was going to be clicking hex regardless. And on this turn he has to roost. It's pretty obvious that roost is going to be his play. So what I choose to do here is go hard Scolipede, because I should have gone hard Scolipede. Why didn't I? That was confusing. I should have gone hard Scully that turn. I believe I do it on the next turn, but this was a complete misplay. I should have, since I knew I was going to wake up regardless next time Kofag came in, I should have just gone hard at the Scully there, but I choose to go for it there. This is almost a misplay on my part, because if he chooses to flamethrower this turn, as I went to sack Scolipede, his Altaria may have been arranged to live the Excadrill Ironhead, but regardless, I predict the Altaria to want to go for Roost again, and at this point I kind of have him checkmated, because as he goes for Roost here, at this point Altaria now, at the range of health that it's at, is going to struggle to come back in on spikes against Excadrill. So because of this, what I choose to do is just go for the Endeavor, as I expected him actually to switch out into something else, but he chooses to just sack his Altaria, which is really interesting since it was like his only win con left at this point, if he knew that I was a Scarf Drill, but maybe he doesn't know that. He chooses a Flamethrower, and this actually is a kill for my my Kofag because of the Will-O-Wisp burn, so Altaria is going to go down there, which is sweet, and we're in a really good spot now. All he has left is the Alakazam and the Crobat, I believe, so I choose to go into my Cofagrigus, because at this point, if he goes into his Crobat, then, like I said, it's basically in range of Excadrill. I choose to go for Willow this turn, mainly because if it was a sashed Alakazam, I still had a chance to lose, and I didn't really want to take that risk. So, sorry, I should have gone for Hex regardless, because Hex plus the Brave Bird recoil would have probably knocked out the Crobat, and then against Alakazam, I could have, you know, sent in Rotom, gone for Willow out to my Scarf Drill and won, but I choose to Willow also because if he decided to switch out hard with Crobat, then I can immediately put a non-Sash Zam in range of Hex, and as you can see, he's quite an offensive Alakazam. I actually didn't know what item he was, but judging on that damage, I'm going to assume Life Orb. I am able to take it though, and I can fire off the Hex, and if he is not sashed, it'll knock him straight out, and pretty confident he was Life Orb, so the Zam does go down. Even if he had killed me there, from the damage, I could have told, like, I would have known that he was Scarfed, and I could have just gone out to my Drill and clicked Ironhead. And at this point, I have no reason to preserve Kofag. It's kind of done its job for the team. I'm just going to let it go down. It put in an immense amount of work. I believe it got 2 kills in this game, which is pretty clean. Had Infiltrator Crobat, which was a really smart thing on his part, for sure. But at this point, judging on the recoil damage that Crobat's taken, it is well and truly in range of an offensive Drill Ironhead. So Drill is going to come in and, for the second week in a row, get 3 kills, just cleaning through the competition. Drill has 6 kills in its first 2 weeks, and we are going to take this game 4-0 over Deebz. So GG Deebz, it was a really good game. I didn't get to use my Hooper or my... so that was the other thing I was trying to do, guys, was if I gauged the damage that he was doing with Shadow Ball, if I knew that he was sashed and not Scarf, then I could have gone Hooper in that situation and clicked Trick Room, because there was no way Signal Beam could knock me out, and by going for Trick Room I could knock off and kill the Zam and knock off and kill the Crobat. So there was that. Like, obviously I wanted Drill to get the kills, but there was also that plan with Hooper to kind of scout, I suppose, as well, so I had outs to any situation that I was put into. But it was a really good game for him. I was kind of surprised he brought the arrow on. I really thought he maybe would bring like Lando and a bit more of the sand offense, because he had Selly to do with Drill all day, so I didn't think he had to worry about me necessarily setting up, like, or me having Drill as an offensive mon. As long as he kept Selly around, it was never going to pressure him, but he decided to bring in Selly hard on the Scully, so that I kind of used the pressure from Scolipede to my advantage. Zard and Hooper didn't hit the field. Kind of glad with that though. It's always nice when a couple of your really good mons don't have to hit the field and you can just get the result regardless. But that is another win for us. We now go to 2-0 with a +5 differential, and this upcoming week we have Gregulator and the Los Angeles Clefable. We actually have a positive record against Greg, if I'm not mistaken, although the last time we played was like a meme game, so this will be our first proper match. Should be really interesting. Kind of looking forward to it, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, you know, make sure you like it and subscribe and all that good stuff, and I'll catch you next week. It's the Bird. I'm out this bit.